And away we go, a sight for sore eyes for the Edmonton Oilers. They haven't seen home ice a lot this year. When they have, they've played well, 8-3-3. But after a 5-game trip where you go 3-2, I don't know, when you start the season, maybe that man doesn't figure in it. But Connor Ingram on the second of a back-to-back for the Edmonton Oilers will make his Oiler debut. He played last year for Utah. He'll be opposed by another guy who maybe you didn't have starting for Vegas this year, Carter Hart. A nearly 2-year layoff coming to an end at the beginning of this month. And as you can see, he has played exceptionally well for the Vegas Golden Knights. It's Edmonton-Vegas, the first of 4, and Jack Roslovic back in the lineup after an 11-game absence. Gene showed you yesterday in St. Paul him getting ready, and he's ready to return, a point-per-game player for a solid month before being injured in a lopsided defeat at home. The Oilers, the Golden Knights, Brett Howden and Connor McDavid on the opening face-off. Vegas beaten last night in Calgary by a score of 6-3. Again, they trailed 5-1 after 30 minutes, and the Oilers, of course, trying to shake off a 5-2 loss yesterday in St. Paul. A steal by Howden, and it's flipped in deep. Jack Michaels, Louis DeBrusk, Gene Principe ringside as Edmonton and Vegas collide for the first of 4. And Louis, the last time we saw the Oilers and the Golden Knights, it was Casperry, Kapanen's night to shine.
It was, finishing off the Vegas Golden Knights in the second round last year. Good save, Ingram, with that blocker off the shot by Barbashev. His first game as an Edmonton Oiler, important for him to feel that puck early.
Hasn't started the game in 8 days. His last outing in the American Hockey League. Bad news, he gave up 7 goals. Good news is he won 8-7 in overtime. Here's Draisaitl. Wrist shot, Roslovic almost welcoming himself back right off the hop. And a good save by Carter Hart. Both goaltenders having to be sharp early. Alec Regula back in the lineup after a 2-game absence. Roslovic wanders down low. Reunited with Draisaitl and Podkolzin. Mitch Marner, soft toss down the left-hand side. He's playing center ice tonight for Vegas. Bruce Cassidy termed last night a disappointment, to be kind, and wants Vegas out of the blocks tonight. Another tough save made by Carter Hart as Regula walked right down the pike, and Hart and Ingram have been solid in the first minute and a half.
Terrific chance for Regula. Here's that shot through a screen. I mean, right through the feet of Ekholm. And Ingram's first save is not an easy one. He fends that one off the blocker. And you're right, Regula back in the lineup after missing the last couple due to illness. Steps right down Main Street and is able to pick his spot. Carter Hart with his first save. A big one in the game.
Illness has been floating through both hockey clubs. Off the draw, pulled back to Ty Emerson, who walks the line and shoots. That does not make its way through. Zach Whitecloud on the puck for Vegas, and he's taken off. The Golden Knights missing arguably their top forward and their top defenseman for tonight's game. No Shea Theodore, no Jack Eichel. They did not travel. And Eichel had been off to a fabulous start with Mitch Marner. The Vegas Golden Knights prized off-season acquisition. Curtis Lazar also drawing back in. He was involved in an awkward fall in Pittsburgh, Louis. Initially, you and I thought he might be out extended period of time. Good news, he's ready to go tonight.
Very good news. Only missed a couple games back into the lineup.
Savoy to Henry. Tried to guide one to the inside, and now Savoy. Draped all over him, Colton Sissons. Here's a drive by Bouchard, and that's caught cleanly by Carter Hart, who grew up about 20 minutes from here over in Sherwood Park. 6 years with the Philadelphia Flyers, and he has served a suspension and back. And Connor Ingram back in the National Hockey League, a guy who's seen time with that Arizona/Utah franchise. As you can see, it's been nearly a year since he started. And Calvin Pickard, I thought, played fairly well yesterday. It was a good hockey game, Louis. And quite frankly, just like the first matchup, the Minnesota goaltender was just a little bit better.
Made the saves when necessary. I agree. That was a solid hockey game yesterday in Minnesota. And both teams were good defensively, good offensively, had their chances, and credit Minnesota. They found a way to win yet another hockey game, 7 straight wins for them. And, you know, for Edmonton, I think you know, they push the issue. That's the good news. An opportunity to get right back at it. They've had a strong stretch, the best stretch of their season so far in the win columns, and just putting games together and want to get right back on the right track against a conference rival.
Last 9 games for both teams. Edmonton 6-2-1. Vegas 6-1-2. That loss last night in regulation was their first in 9 games. Caden Korczak for the Golden Knights does not get it out. Regula to Connor McDavid, who entered the day in a tie for the league lead in scoring. Nugent Hopkins to Nurse. In front, tipped off the post by Hyman, and Carter Hart's able to come up with it. Hyman and probably about 18,000 of his buddies thought that puck was in, but no.
Anytime a player comes up from a scrum like that, shaking his head, you know, holy jumping, that should have been in the net. Darren Pang's saying holy jumping. But that's what he's saying to himself right now, is that I can't believe Carter Hart got a pad on this chance. Awesome pass by Darnell Nurse. I mean, he fakes the shot, holds Hart for as long as he can, zips this hard, and it has to be a hard pass across. Good chance, in tight, denied.
McDavid off the draw, clubbed wide by Hyman. Still on that short side, Nugent Hopkins able to gather. Sent it across to Alec Regula. McDavid, who had 6 points in that playoff series, beautiful feed, and then Nugent Hopkins shot it over the net. And Connor McDavid is in a stretch of magnificent hockey right now. 11 goals, 23 points in his last 9, and even on these first couple shifts, you can tell he's feeling it again. Nurse tries to stuff it inside. McDavid comes up and throws it toward the net. Hart was able to jab it away from Hyman. McDavid still buzzing, pestering Dorothea, Vegas' leading goal scorer, coming in before Noah Hanifin finally rifles it in deep.
Yeah, terrific shift to the offensive zone for the top line of Edmonton, and Connor McDavid doing what he does, just buzzing around the offensive zone. Hyman with a couple chances. Nugent Hopkins in tight with a chance. Terrific shift.
Roslovic through, Bouchard a shot, and that hit, I believe, put Kolzak. I think,
yeah.
Did it catch him in the visor?
I think so. He's just reshuffling the helmet as he comes back into the play.
Sent in deep by Whitecloud. Pretty sure it didn't catch him actually in the face, just kind of popped off that visor. Little stun, Whitecloud up to Barbashev. Another good start for Barbashev this year. Knocked off balance by Bouchard, and now Draisaitl swung it cross ice, picked off and cleared by Whitecloud ahead for Mitch Marner. Dishes, and that just missed Barbashev, picked up by Mark Stone, who's been fabulous in the 17 games he's played. To the net, save Ingram, and he's got it. Covering up as Barbashev tried to tuck it underneath his prostrate form.
This period brought to you by James H. Brown Accident Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters in injury law.
Here's that shot that comes in, and it actually wasn't the puck. I thought it was too, Jack. It was actually a little shove from behind, and he goes into Lausanne right into the elbow. Those two guys had a spirited scrap last year when Lausanne was a member of the Nashville Predators.
Well, most of the spirit was in 92's favor.
He threw a few. Hey, got to give him credit. But yeah, he ate a couple, no question. A one-sided affair for Podkolzin, but give Lausanne credit. He was chucking.
Noah Hanifin up the left-hand side. Cole Reinhardt ahead for Sissons, who had a front-row seat for that, having played a decade in Nashville. Sissons, a teammate of Lausanne last year in Nashville, and of course a stalwart on that team. We might have a penalty here. Hooking call coming. Oilers aren't too happy.
Adam Henrique's had a few words here. Looks like Mangiapane's heading over to the box, and this is
Edmonton penalty, 88, 2 minutes hooking.
It's going to be hooking in that scrum for the puck right here, as you're going to see. Mangiapane kind of gets his stick into the midsection of Hutton, who comes down to keep that play alive, and it gets tangled in there. Anytime there's a delay trying to pull it out of there, it's usually a fairly easy call. They didn't like it. The first power play goes to the Vegas Golden Knights, and they're the most disciplined team in the league, Jack. They've been shorthanded the least in the National Hockey League.
And their power play is pretty solid.
Yep.
25%. 6th in the league, led by Dorofiev's 9. He doesn't have an even strength goal since October, but he's got 9 on the power play. That puck play with a high stick by Hurdle. He doesn't like the call, but a D-zone draw coming on, and here's more on Pavel Dorofeev.
2 years in a row, this guy's gotten out to a torrid pace to start the season, and this year was no different. And, you know, power play goal leaders, he's up in the top 3 in the National Hockey League, has that terrific one-time shot. They use him on that half wall to rip that puck, and he's good at it. He had 9 goals in his first 11 games, so pretty incredible.
Vegas, under Bruce Cassidy, is a team that'll hang around and hope to win close at the end. Golden Knights are a -5 in terms of goal differential first 2 periods. Shot coming from Hurdle, and that was deflected up on the plexi. However, they're +13 in the 3rd. Hurdle shoots off the post, and now both teams have drawn iron. Mitch Marner gets it back from Mark Stone. The power play continues. Stone inside, broken up by Bouchard. Rebound, fought for, and a quick swat off the side of the net from Stone. You've got Marner. Stone will give it right back to him. Stone again. Marner. Stone in tight. Ingram there, and puts it to rest.
Yeah, good job to pounce on this puck by Connor Ingram. The Vegas Golden Knights have big bodies on this power play, and Mark Stone especially in front. He's so good at digging out pucks that are loose. He comes up with a lot of pucks that are 50-50. Here's a couple chances for Hurdle right from the slot, and this one he rings off the bar. Ingram way out to cut down that angle. Gets a little help from his best friend.
Halfway through the power play. Ingram this year 4-5-2 in Bakersfield, and talking with the guys down there, they admit it's an offense first type of mentality. So at times he's been hung out to dry. Shoved down the ice by Spencer Stastny. Nugent Hopkins, Lazar come off. Stastny and Emberson stay out there. But Colson, meanwhile, with Janmark. Defending the line as Vegas enters. Stone up top for Hannafin, and now Hurdle. Hannafin gives it up. Marner in tight, dished off. Dorofeev trying to go upstairs. That was swatted down. Came back to him. He'll protect. Pavel Dorofeev trying to center. Broken up by Janmark. Here's Marner with 15 seconds on the penalty to Mangiapane. Stone. Quick shot. Hurdle missed the net. Rebound up on the glass. Handled by Hannafin. Sent along by Dorofeev. Stone the captain in tight, and Hurdle denied by Ingram. Rebound Hannafin. Swung. Shot Dorofeev. Ingram shrugged that one away. And the power play comes to an end, and the Oilers get a length of the ice clear. This will turn into an icing call. 2 shots on the Vegas power play. No score, 8 minutes in.
Life is full of flavor, and Truly has one for any occasion. Truly Hard Seltzer is a proud fan and preferred hard seltzer of the Edmonton Oilers.
Connor Ingram able to stare down a Vegas power play. Each team with 4 shots on net, and off the draw one by Janmark, a former Golden Knight in his own right. And this will be an icing call against Edmonton.
Look at good start for Edmonton, then a choppy little bit of play here after this power play. You know, kind of sets things in stride, and credit Vegas. They had a lot of chances in tight. Hurdle had 3 himself. 2 from the slot, that one in tight. You saw Dorofeev come off the wall, try and elevate on the short side on Ingram. Some good chances, but some also good penalty killing to make sure they cleared it when they did have the opportunity.
Connor Ingram, 3rd round draft pick of the Tampa Bay Lightning in 2016. And like Chris Knobloch, as Gene Principe told you about yesterday, he hails from Imperial, Saskatchewan. Braden McNabb, the handoff to Korzak. No Pietrangelo, remember, on season-ending IR. McDavid to Draisaitl. Vegas a team in transition. A drive by McDavid sent wide. Having said that, Vegas is right in the Pacific Division hunt once again. McDavid knocked off bounce, gives it up, and Draisaitl's one-timer stopped by Carter Hart.
Good save. He got that away pretty quickly. The guy for me, too, is Karlsson for the Vegas Golden Knights. He's just such an important player for this team, the way he not only plays offensively, but just a shutdown matchup guy for Bruce Cassidy. Can put him out there against anybody in the league. They miss him as well.
Here's Draisaitl. McDavid's in tight, drags through and scores. Point streak at 10. Goal number 23. 1-0 Edmonton.
It's Connor McDavid flying right now. It is incredible. He gets ahead of steam. He is just attacking. And once he gets that puck on his stick and makes his mind up that he's going to drive this puck to the net, good luck trying to slow him down. I mean, look how he just pumps it into high gear, gets the puck on his stick. We talked about it. Connor Allen calls it destination far post. There's nobody better in the league than Connor McDavid. Once he decides he's going to drive the puck into the zone, you have to respect that he's going to maybe make a play short side, but he's so fast to get that puck to the other side. Some ducking out of sticks too on the bench. Colasar with a pretty big hit, but what a move by McDavid again in tight at full speed.
McDavid from Draisaitl, his 23rd time, 9-11. Nugent Hopkins across to Roslovic. His shot shoulder to side by Carter Hart. McDavid reached a top speed of 35 clicks an hour that time. Max Jones, Bulldog down in the corner. Sissons, who was on that Nashville team that went to the Stanley Cup final in 2017 before losing in 6 to Pittsburgh. By the way, we've got a new Penguins all-time scoring leader. Sidney Crosby, 2 points tonight to move past Mario Lemieux.
I got to tell you, Jack, they were shut out the last 2 games, 4-0, 4-0. So no Flyers. Pittsburgh Penguins are ahead a point. Probably fitting they're back at home versus Montreal tonight, with Lemieux in the crowd to finish that off and finally leapfrog over the magnificent one.
First time he's not the all-time leading scorer in the history of the Pittsburgh Penguins since my partner was 17. Off the left-hand side, a hard hit.
You got Barbashev. People probably thought when that happened he was never going to relinquish that, right? But then Sidney Crosby comes along and does what he's done over the course of his 21 seasons in the National Hockey League. Just incredible.
McDavid from Draisaitl. Where have I heard that before? Time 9-11. And the Oilers take a 1-0 lead. Alec Regula will get credit for a second assist on that scoring play.
There was a collision here with Hurdle, and Draisaitl got a little shaken up. He wasn't happy, and he chopped Hurdle pretty hard. And he will go to the box for 2 on this one. He earned this one with a pretty good whack into the wrist. It looked like of Hurdle, but there was a collision, and Draisaitl took the worst of it from the big man Hurdle.
Draisaitl still upset as he goes to the box. The Vegas Golden Knights, their second power play, a big hit, steamrolled by Hurdle. Draisaitl, the response, the slash, and now the Golden Knights will try to tie it up on Sportsnet.
Made real.
Still a long conversation between Connor McDavid, Mark Stone, and the officials about what just happened. Here it is. Here is Draisaitl spun. He got taken down by Hurdle pretty aggressively, and that stung him. He kind of didn't react right away. He wondered what happened because it was a little bit from behind. Well, it was from behind. And then he slashes Hurdle in the wrist pretty good. I mean, he got him right between the top of the cuff and where the elbow pad joined. There's a little space there on bone. That one stung. Hurdle had some ice on his wrist on the bench, is out to take this face-off for the power play.
Second of the evening for the Vegas Golden Knights. Oilers scored at even strength. And with that goal scored by McDavid, Save-On Foods has given away their first prize. But Vegas now with a chance to respond. Stone to the front of the net, picked off by Bouchard. He didn't get it all the way down, but did manage to clear the zone. By the way, Alec Regula now has 3 assists in his last 4 games after none in his first 39 in the NHL. This is good work by Janmark to beat everyone down and from the end boards send it all the way down to Ingram. He'll in turn hand off to Stastny, who gave it away. Stone the steal for Vegas. Golden Knights, who fell behind 5-1 30 minutes in. You heard Louis allude to the fact Bruce Cassidy feels this club has got to start getting out of the blocks. Slow starters all year. Marner shovels it around. Edmonton's won 8 in a row when getting the first goal. And here's a length of the ice clear delivered by Emerson. And the Oiler penalty killers doing their job. Draisaitl in the box for another 45 seconds. Here comes Braden Bowman with a centering pass that's untouched. Brown wanted goaltender interference. None forthcoming. Savoy the clear. Henrique shorthanded to Nurse. A shot, high riser came up off the glass. Barbashev trying to punch it ahead for Bowman. The rookie out of the Ontario Hockey League. He'll put it into the corner. A leaping play, trying to knock it down by Ben Hutton, who all of a sudden is a regular with the injury to Theodore. Hutton trying to hold the line against Savoy. McDavid curls away, and he's just going to dial it up again. And the penalty to Draisaitl set to expire. McDavid beat Bowman through the defense, and a backhander fought off, and he's drawn a penalty, which will put Edmonton up on the power play right now. Connor McDavid at his brilliant best in the first 13 minutes tonight.
Vegas number 17, 2-minute minor penalty, hooking.
You're not containing him. You're just hoping right now. 1-0 Edmonton. Tonight's Closer Look brought to you by Specsavers. Don't miss a play. Keep your eyes healthy with regular eye exams, including OCT.
Well, Connor McDavid, as you mentioned, Jack, is just on a different level. He's elevated his game so much in the month of December, and these are some of the highlight goals that he scored just by using that speed to get in alone and finish off plays. It's one thing to skate this fast. He gets up to 35 kilometers an hour on this one we just saw to go up 1-0, but the ability to make the play at that speed is what's outstanding.
Power play brought to you by Play Alberta. Edmonton looking to extend the 1-0 lead. McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, and Bouchard out there for the man advantage, and a clear by the Golden Knights, who made a massive improvement in their account. They were pretty mediocre last year at 75%, bottom third of the league. This year they're up to 82%, 7th in the league, but they're going to be tested by Edmonton's league best power play, clicking at 32% coming in and 40% over the last month. McDavid blasted in the corner. He went down, and the Golden Knights are going to come up with this puck. Howden, little give and go, and punches forward inside the Oiler line. Bouchard and Nugent Hopkins on the counter. Leon Draisaitl leads the team with 8 power play goals this year. Bouchard across to McDavid, rolling to the net. Turn back, Bouchard, one-timer. Draisaitl hasn't scored in his last 7. Stopped. Rebound, Bouchard to McDavid. Fires right off the pads of Carter Hart. Golden Knights had a couple chances to clear. Louis didn't get it done, but now it crawled outside on a mishandle at the blue by Bouchard. 5:56 to go in the first. 1-0 Edmonton.
Second game in a row. He's seen this move from McDavid when he comes from high to low. Here's with speed, the little toe drag. He sells shot, and he's so good at bringing that from pretty far outside back into the middle. Good save by Hart inside, but you can see the difference from November to December. Just that elevation for McDavid has created so many opportunities. He's on a tear right now offensively, but just the finish, the confidence, he's got a puck on a string.
And now third on the league with those 23 goals. Broke a 4-way tie for 4th. Here's Nugent Hopkins back to Leon Draisaitl, who hasn't scored in his last 7. Nugent Hopkins to McDavid, no shot. Tried to slip it down low to Hyman. Bouchard to McDavid. Draisaitl, backdoor, score! Nugent Hopkins, the finish. What a look from Draisaitl. Power play goal, the Oilers are up the deuce. That's 9 for Nugent Hopkins.
Yeah, gets there on time. We're seeing this a lot this year for Nugent Hopkins. He's had a real knack for getting himself to that spot on time. Look at this. Backdoor, nobody sees him coming. And he's in stealth mode, but he gets himself to the spot. You present that target. Look at that look from Draisaitl. Great job.
YouTube,
The work
now
of the camera
heard,
to
at Reset
find
Avocado
that
65
line
reply,
when he had to
attachment.
thread that through to put it right on the tape.
App Store,
of Ryan
now,
Nugent
soon all AI
Hopkins,
songs and
and
music
that's
maker
exactly
payment be
what
fine.
Draisaitl does.
To keep your subscription active,
Attacking,
please update your payment
recovering,
information.
continue
Time
to
sensitive.
attack on that. Eventually they find a seam, and it's a beautiful pass and a great finish from Ryan Nugent Hopkins. 2-0.
14 power play goals in the last 12 for Edmonton, and with that point on the power play goal, Connor McDavid has taken over the league's scoring lead. He has 61, McKinnon has 60, and most importantly from his standpoint, his club leads 2-0. Nugent Hopkins from Draisaitl and McDavid. Edmonton, one at even strength, one on the power play.
Ask your doctor for Wegovy by name. Visit wegovy.ca for savings. Some exclusions may apply.
Good start for Edmonton in this one after a tough matchup yesterday where they fell to the Minnesota Wild, come back their first game at home in a week. And off to a terrific start in this one. A couple good penalty kills, good saves by Ingram early on to kind of set the tone, and then the big boys going to work, Jack, in this one. They've come out ready to play.
Jones and Lazar in on the forecheck. Edmonton has won 8 in a row, and the Oilers get the first goal. They did it yesterday in St. Paul. As Louis talked about, I mean, right now, the top of the Central is a wagon. Colorado, Dallas, and Minnesota just don't lose. And the reason Minnesota's not losing is they've got the best goaltending in the league right now. Here's Keegan Colasar dropping from Marner. His shot off the rush, guided into the corner by Connor Ingram. Now put Colson on his horse. A quartet of Vegas defenders collapse on him, and it's Stone sending it the other way for Barbashev. Vegas, meanwhile, for the second time in as many nights, find themselves in a 2-0 hole. They were just blown out by Calgary. Never really in that game at all. White Cloud shoots it in. Nurse tried to reverse, turned it over. Marner a shot, and that was steered away by Connor Ingram. Draisaitl. 2 more points tonight. He has 52 on the year. What a dart that was to put Colson, then back around to Nurse. Edmonton's been sharp, but Colson wires it cross ice, backhander, and that almost ended up in from Draisaitl. And 45 feet, he's got it back. Challenged by Marner. Quick shot taken by Colson from the slot. Hart might have gotten a piece of that. Roslovic tried to jam it in to close quarters. Barbashev comes away with it. Off to Jeremy Lauzon. Bouchard is back defensively. Mitch Marner, nearly a decade in Toronto. A series of playoff failures. And signed in the offseason in Vegas. Golden Knights won a cup in 2023. Beating Edmonton in 6 games along the way. The rematch was last year, and the Oilers won it in 5, including 2 overtime wins. Little give and go. Nugent Hopkins back to McDavid. That's offside. Zach Hyman with 3 minutes to go in the first period, and the Oilers looking electric and building a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, a little malfunction at the junction. Here's this power play goal again, and look at the move. You're going to see Draisaitl switch, come down low. McDavid gives it to him, and then takes the stick away. Of Lauzon, we talked about this pass by Draisaitl. Watch this. Just kind of follow through the stick, and don't let it get down on the ice. That opens up a tiny little seam, and guess who finds it? Leon Draisaitl. Backdoor to Ryan Nugent Hopkins. He makes no mistake.
Paul McFarland operating the Oiler power play this year with a departure of Glenn Gulletson, a shot off the rush by Houghton, and a save made. We saw that on opening night against Calgary. That particular play with Nugent Hopkins sneaking backdoor, one of the wrinkles that have been added. Here's Adam Henrique up the left-hand side to Mangiapane. Caden Korzak's drawn a penalty. That's 2 stick infractions against Mangiapane in the first 17 minutes. He'll go to the box again. 3rd power play of the game for Vegas.
Edmonton, number 88.
As you mentioned, Mangiapane going again for the 2nd time, and Edmonton has gotten themselves a little bit of penalty trouble as of late. At different times and times when you're in control, you're up 2-0. It's not much, but again, it's a hooking penalty. It's a stick infraction. and it's one of those ones that you can avoid if you keep your stick down on the ice and hunt for pucks. But nonetheless, it's a third power play already in the first period for the Vegas Golden Knights. You're not going to get a lot, as we talked about. They've taken the least amount of penalties this year in the National Hockey League, or time short.
Face-off, win by Lazar, hard rim down the left-hand side. The other thing in play here, Louis, is with Roslovic back and Edmonton starting to get healthy. Trent Frederick comes out of the lineup for the first time tonight. Players are on notice right now. A couple of mistakes, and now there's depth where you might not get a chance to make up for it. You might be in the press box.
Absolutely, and I mean, I don't think there's any other way you want it. You want that internal competition. Edmonton not happy right now. Janmark was picked here on this play and knocked down to the ice, and they felt there should have been a penalty. There wasn't one.
2 minutes to go in the period. Dorofeev hits the line. Tomas Hertl. Now Noah Hannafin. Third power play for Vegas in this first period. Mitch Marner to Hannafin. Oilers have converted their only opportunity. Vegas obviously still looking for its first conversion. 2-on-1 shorthanded. Nugent Hopkins to McDavid, loading, centering, and that was tipped away by Hannafin. McDavid snuck back. Briefly had the puck on his stick again, gathered by Stone, then turned over. McDavid's loose. Beautiful move. Backhanded denied by Carter Hart. And Vegas has got to get it together, and Mitch Marner looks beleaguered out there. Remains 2-0, only due to Carter Hart cleaning it up.
There's the pick right here by Dorofeev on Janmark, and they were screaming on the bench that that should have been interference, or at least a pick play on the power play. They get away with it, and there's a long conversation going back to the bench, but the 2-on-1 develops here, and this is why McDavid's been ejected back onto the penalty kill. Whitecloud gets a piece of that puck coming across to Nugent Hopkins and slows it down just enough to not convert.
Here's Howden racing in, trying to hit Barbashev. Return to the point for Bowman. Benhut. Howden inside, and that was cued wide by Barbashev. Howden in tight, Barbashev backdoor shot. Sent out through the other side by Riley Smith. Quick dish up top. Howden tried to center. That was deflected. Smith, one of the original misfits, along with William Karlsson and Jonathan Marchessault, carved out of the corner. Mangiapane fresh out of the box, and once again Edmonton able to kill it off for him. In fact, not even a shot on goal that time for Vegas. Awfully sloppy. Colton Sisson's able to force it out. 15 seconds to go in the first. Edmonton has time for one last rush. McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman are out there. Draisaitl did not make contact with the puck. McNabb will try to eat it with Korczak. Draisaitl in tight for Hyman. Ekholm, a shot at the horn, blocked away by Carter Hart. And Vegas gets out of the period down 2. And that feels like a period where 2 goals might be the least amount of damage the Oilers could have inflicted.
Certainly could have been more, and it was a real strong period. Aside from the penalties, listen, you give a team 3 power plays in a period, you expect a little bit of damage. Credit the penalty kill, though. They killed off all 3 of them. Didn't allow a shot in the last one. Discipline will be a key moving forward, though, in my belief, for Edmonton here. But a strong start for them in a back-to-back situation. They'll take it.
You mentioned the back-to-back. The Oilers looking for their first win on a second of a back-to-back in 7 tries. They're up 2-0. McDavid at even strength. Nugent Hopkins on the power play. Martine and Jesse with Sportsnet Central update next.
Okay, welcome back to the Alberta capital. It is, well, what a way to come back from a 5-game road trip. I couldn't ask for much more on the part of the Edmonton Oilers as they are up a couple through 20 minutes of play. Happy to be joined, but you look like the professor there. You're writing down notes.
I do,
right to the end.
That's great, because I look like Gilligan, so there you go.
I just wrote down, never talk to Bob again.
You actually look, who was the captain of, was it a captain? No.
All right, I'm not that heavy for
No. He was very engaging and friendly, just like Bob is.
Just call me Larry Hale, okay? That's who it was.
There we go, yeah. All hail to Mac T. Connor Ingram Okay, so this guy's in the minors, not expecting to come up. Oilers make a big deal for Tristan Jarry, and he starts tonight. What do you think of his evening?
Well, I thought he's had an exceptional start. You see his aggressiveness right away on a point-blank shot. He came right out well above the crease, and to me, that speaks to the confidence level. What a journey this guy has had over the last year and a half. And his numbers aren't particularly good, according to Keith Gretzky in the American Hockey League, but he also added that the team wasn't the best defensively in front of him. So save percentage can be misleading for goaltenders, but really excited for him and really happy for him to come in here in the first period. And I thought Carter Hart had a really good period down in the other end, made a lot of good saves.
Yeah, I just say this, you need your goalie to be your best penalty killer, and the Oilers went 3 for 3 on the PK.
All right, so Tristan Jarry, by the way, is out at least a couple of weeks. News delivered by Chris Knobloch. Deliver the news on Connor McDavid. What do you think of him?
He's on a heater.
Yeah.
Like he's going. Up to a 10-game point streak, and the numbers speak for themselves. He's just absolutely exploding through, scoring world-class goals. We're watching a guy at the absolute height of his powers.
I don't think I've ever seen him, and hey, let's be honest, we see him play great most nights, night in and night out, but he's just looks like he's at a different level. And as Bob said earlier, when a certain sports channel was talking about Nathan McKinnon being the best player in the game, it really buoyed his confidence, and now he's a leading point getter in the NHL, and he's come from a long way back, but he's had incredible, as you can see here on the graphic, December.
Dynamic duos on the ice, at the panel, and in the booth. Louis and Jack, take it away.
Well, and right on cue, Nate McKinnon scores his 30th, so now we're tied again at 61 points. I mean, look, Nate McKinnon doesn't have to take a back seat either, but Connor McDavid, I'd agree with the panel, Louis. Just a phenomenal opening period, setting the table for his team and beating off the draw by Brett Houghton. As we begin the second period, McDavid, 25 points in his last 11 games. And this one isn't done yet either. Oilers up 2. Vegas finds themselves in the same quandary they were in last night in Calgary. Another red-hot Alberta team. That Calgary club is now just 3 points out of a playoff spot in the Western Conference. Oilers can pull themselves into a second-place tie with Vegas with a win in regulation tonight. Braden Bowman turned it over. Nugent Hopkins spooned off McDavid's stick, and now Bowman will put it behind Bouchard. Jack Lou Gene with you at 18,347 on a frosty Sunday evening, 4 days before Christmas. Minus 22 at game time, but the Oilers heating up at home. Roslovic a sloppy giveaway, however. Mark Stone and Roslovic atone with a steal. Sets up Draisaitl for the breakaway. Draisaitl reeled in by Hutton, and a quick shot by Roslovic following it up. Sails wide, rebound hammered toward the net by Regula. And that's hacked by Marner, but not outside the zone. But Colson to Draisaitl. Here's Nurse. Roslovic, Draisaitl trying to guide one in front. And that kicked out for Stone, who turnstiles it inside the Oiler blue line.
Jack Roslovic back in the lineup, as we mentioned, missed some time, and get your feet underneath you in the first period, a fast-paced period, but he's made a couple plays already in this first shift in the second period. He was on a tear before getting hurt.
That bid didn't look like it missed by much. You had a better view than I did.
It didn't. I mean, he was picking high glove penalty coming up here.
Against Vegas. Interference call against the Golden Knights, and the Oilers already up 2 and already having cashed in their only prior power play of the game. They'll get yet another opportunity.
Vegas penalty number
Jeremy
6, 2
Lauzon.
minutes, interference.
Heading over to the penalty box here. Interference is the call. Here's the...
Selected. Cellular.
Frustration on the bench after a good chance for Draisaitl. And then here's the interference here as Lauzon takes down his man in the corner. No puck touched.
Golden Knights coming into this game and wiped out 17 of 18 but got burned. Nugent-Hopkins to Draisaitl. It was Nugent-Hopkins scoring backdoor set up by Draisaitl in the first. Here's a little give and go. Draisaitl again trying to find Nugent-Hopkins. Draisaitl mentioned 7-game dry spell between goals. Nugent-Hopkins, Draisaitl redirected on net. The save made by Hart. Now centers McDavid, backdoor score. That's 2 for Nugent-Hopkins. And a 3-point night already for Connor McDavid. 3-0 Edmonton. Vegas has been rocked.
Yeah, 2 penalties taken, 2 power play goals against for the Vegas Golden Knights, and their special teams have been excellent this season. But this is just too good. Lots of movement, lots of chances for Edmonton. They just keep funneling pucks to the net. It's Draisaitl short side, follows it up with a little backhand through. This one gets right through onto the stick of Connor McDavid. He freezes everybody. You can see Carter Hart has to extend out, thinks the shot's coming from McDavid, then has to react to Nugent-Hopkins, who wisely takes just a millisecond to make sure that he puts it into the open net. Poise under pressure, 3-0 Edmonton.
This is turning into a lost weekend for Vegas and Alberta. Came in on a 6-0-2 run. Shellacked last night by the Flames 6-3. And in trouble tonight through 22.5 minutes and 3-0. A lot of time left, but Vegas has not shown much. Here's the end mark. Busting in, banged it off the side of the net. Backhander didn't get there. Draisaitl, 3 more assists tonight. He's got 22 points in his last 10. McDavid, 26. 48 points in 10 games for McDavid and Draisaitl. And we're not done with this one.
Solid follow-up shift by the 4th line, Jack, to go right out on the ice, get the puck into the offensive zone, be physical, and just continue to wear down the Vegas Golden Knights. Solid follow-up shift after a power play goal by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, assisted by McDavid and Draisaitl. There's the trio right there on the bench together. But it's just the movement, recoveries, and execution. And I know you mentioned Paul McFarland earlier in the telecast, just coming in, a couple little tweaks. You can see him right there behind Connor McDavid with the notepad. And they're firing on all cylinders on the power play, really feeling it.
Savoy off the draw. Dropped it back to Regula. From Nurse. And then Savoy gets it in deep. Carter Hart, the outlet pass. Ben Hutton. Bowman couldn't do much with it. The Oilers powered it right back in. Edmonton will play host to Calgary on Tuesday. Told you the Flames have been playing very well lately, recovering after just an awful start. And in the West, just like the East, you're not out of it. Here's Mangiapane. Now, I'm not sure anyone's catching the top 3 in the Central, but everything else is up for grabs. Regula, he got smoked by Brett Howden. Darnell Nurse wires it up. Roslovic at center ice, doesn't see anything he loves. Hands off to Draisaitl, midst of a change. Here's Roslovic, put it between the wickets of McNabb, and then trying to center, stolen by Korzak, who lofts it over the head of Evan Bouchard, who returns the puck to Draisaitl. Backhand feed, Vasily Podkolzin. Tried to thread it through. That was broken up, intended for Roslovic, and forced back. Bouchard up the left-hand side. Roslovic handles that bouncing puck and twists it back through center. Mark Stone. Mitch Marner, career high, 102 points last year. Put it in the corner, Barbashev. Marner and the Leafs falling 1 game shy of the East Final. Quick chance, save made. Ingram on Noah Hannafin. Leafs lost Game 7 at home to Florida. And that was it for Marner as a Leaf. Shot sent wide by Whitecloud. Rebound Dorofeev. Popped it back. Cross seamer looking for Whitecloud. Marner before he changed. That was broken up. And Golfed out of the zone by Roslovic. Here's Hanifin to Dorofeev. Loose stick on the ice. Dorofeev circling. Getting through Ekholm. Walking up top. No shot. One-timer. Kicked out against White Cloud. Rebound chipped up. Here's Dorofeev walking in. They're going to say on that Draisaitl feed across that it caught Hyman's skate. Is that correct? Or here's Hertl.
That's what we're hearing.
Yeah, that's what we're hearing. We'll keep an eye on it as Connor Ingram makes another good save on Dorofeev with 6 minutes gone by in the second. Greg McTavish talked about it. Here's Draisaitl. I don't know.
Off the skate of Hyman.
Thought so. Doesn't matter. Louis, the end result is Edmonton 3, Vegas nothing.
Off the heel. I agree. It's 3-0 Edmonton after that power play goal by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. My sheet.
Decades ago, it was Wayne and Mark. Nowadays, it's Leon and Connor. Very popular on the road, and that was the case after the Boston game. There's Zdeno Chara spending some time with Leon Draisaitl, chatting hockey and just kind of getting a chance to know each other more. And then on Saturday, it was Mike Modano, his daughter, spending some time with Connor, as well as 54-goal scorer Zach Hyman. I asked Connor if he'd ever met Modano. He said no, it was cool. And I have a feeling that everybody else also thinks it's cool to meet Connor and Leon.
Well, especially when they're playing the way they are right now. Here's a twisting reversal by Brandon Saad, looking for just his second of the year, and Connor Ingram able to clean it up. You know, and again, he's said at times, like, there's an adjustment playing in the American Hockey League. Not as predictable, Louis.
It's not. And, you know, you heard Craig McTavish talk about it, too. It's a scrambler game. Sorry, it is in the American Hockey League. And sometimes the shots aren't necessarily coming from where you think they are. He has had terrific numbers in the AHL earlier in his career, but, you know, he hasn't played an NHL game since February 22nd of this year. So it's been a while. And that was when he was a member of the Utah Mammoth. So getting his feet wet, but you know what? Good job on that one to swallow it up and not allow anything to be dropped in front of him. He's been good when he's faced the shots. But I agree with you, Jack. The shots are a little different here. Higher caliber, higher skill, yes. But sometimes just a little bit more routine and a little bit more deliberate. You know where they're going to come from.
Well, the year prior to moving to Utah, remember Vejmelka struggled, and Ingram stepped in and won 23 hockey games to keep Arizona on the fringes of playoff contention. He had a .907 save percentage that year, so he's 2 years removed from an exceptionally solid year. And as you know, Louis, that Arizona-Utah team is entertaining, but I would not say defensively responsible at all times.
I think they're trying to get better at that, but I would agree with you for sure. And Vejmelka's kind of grabbed those reins now, but yes, there was a team that was learning how to do that on a night-to-night basis, and they still are. Very offensive, very skilled, trying to be a better defensive structured team. And as a goaltender in that environment, we've seen it here before as well in decades past, that you have to learn how to do that as a team, and sometimes a goaltender can save you, and sometimes it's just a tough night.
Riley Smith inside to Bowman. That glanced off the side of the net, and it can be tough at times to look good on a club like that. Here's Nugent-Hopkins breaking out with Nurse and Hyman. Nurse centers. Hyman backhand score. 4-0. Edmonton pouring it on.
What a pass by Darnell Nurse here. Activating up in the rush. He had a beautiful one in the first period to Hyman that wasn't converted. On the doorstep, shot past to Hyman. Guess who this time? It's Hyman again. Good outlet out of the zone. 3-on-2 develops with Darnell Nurse on the rush, and right here threads the needle through onto the tape of Hyman. And a great job by him to bring this from the forehand to backhand. Good stop in front by Nugent-Hopkins. Doesn't carry through. No goalie interference there. 4-0 Edmonton.
And what I liked about that hard charge is that almost almost created the seam for that pass to get across by Nugent Hopkins.
Absolutely. Center drive.
Mangiapane to Henry. Nugent Hopkins with 2 goals and an assist tonight. The 36th multi-goal game of his career. He's got 4 hat tricks to his credit, and he's got a 3-point night as well. So does McDavid. Draisaitl with 2. Hyman with a goal and an assist. And the Oilers right now are in total command against one of their arch rivals. How about Vegas? 30 minutes in last night, down 5-1. Wrist shot blockered away by Ingram against McNabb. Nearly 30 minutes complete tonight. They're down 4-0.
Hasn't been great starts. I know Bruce Cassidy talked about it last night after the game against the Flames. Kind of called out his team and said, this is a veteran team that knows they need to be better. I don't know if they could have done a lot with what Edmonton's kind of thrown out here in this first period, especially the top players, to be honest, Jack. But they pride themselves on a defensive structure and a team that can buckle down and really make you have to work for your chances. We've seen it in years past. These 2 teams have gone at it.
Oilers,
but they're a little bit banged up. They're without Jack Eichel, who is just, puts them in a different category as far as that #1 centerman that does so much for the team. William Karlsson, I talked about him and what he is valuable to the team.
For me, it's Theodore.
And Shea Theodore.
Yeah.
Their most offensive defenseman, and he makes the game look easy when he's playing on top of this game. So when you take those 3 guys out of the lineup, it looks much different.
This period brought to you by Jiffy Lube. From the puck drop to the pit stop. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving.
Darnell Nurse with that nice primary assist on that rush up the ice, and had another look to Hyman earlier on, as I mentioned, and Hyman with a good finish on the backhand side. Good recognition by him to understand that Nugent Hopkins had driven through, and that quick pull to the backhand wrapping around both of them tucks it home. But again, to your point, Jack, for Edmonton, when you have a team that's banged up, you have to capitalize on it. You have to make them pay for it. And Edmonton has so far in this one. Don't take your foot off the pedal.
Jones looking for Stastny. That didn't pan out. Banged off the glass and out by Hutton. Oilers beaten 5-2 yesterday by Minnesota. Wild got a late insurance goal and an empty netter to break open a 3-2 game. Hutton shoots it in. Oilers felt they played well. The late mistake at the end of the first period proved costly. Jones twists it back inside the Vegas line.
It was a good game, too. That when it was 3-2 and just that grind when it was a 1-goal game, both teams were really showing their true colors on how good they can defend, but also how they can create. Chances were hard to come by, but you had to work for them. And I think that work ethic and mentality from yesterday and Minnesota has carried over into this one for Edmonton. They weren't happy after that loss to Minnesota Wild. They've beaten them twice already this year, and they're one of the big guns in the Western Conference.
Central Division. 3 teams well ahead anything that the Pacific has right now. Ekholm drives it up the left-hand side. That pinballed off a White Cloud. And here's Riley Smith. Trying to feed it back to White Cloud. Stolen away by McDavid. Lauzon trying to get back. Hyman rushing for the net. McDavid hits the trailer. Nugent Hopkins denied. Bidding for the hat trick against Carter Hart. Here's McDavid in tight. Nugent Hopkins stopped and swing and a miss by Hyman as well. Edmonton had 3 cracks that time to make it 5-0. And that could have been an early shower for Carter Hart. Of course, Akira Schmid wasn't exactly lights out last night in Calgary either. But this is more of a team effort from Vegas. The margin may have been the same in the loss for Vegas, but the performance was not. And they're not playing all that great tonight either, although Edmonton is at the top of its game.
Penalty coming up to Edmonton here.
Yeah, Vegas gets an extra tacker on. It's Marner. Here's Keegan Colasar. Banked off the wall. Sissons up top. Korczak saucered across. Hanifin a shot and a save made by Connor Ingram. And for the 4th time tonight, the Vegas Golden Knights will go to the power play. That's one of the big differences tonight. Oilers are 2 for 2. Vegas 0 for 3. Henrique to the box. Ingram giving it a look. Henry got the stick up high.
Well, Jack, you mentioned Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with 3 points on the night, and it's been just the big boys going to work here. Here's the power play goal. Great job to sneak back door. We've seen that a few times this year. Him getting to that spot. Perfect pass by Draisaitl. Here's the second goal that he scored. Beautiful passing play again that comes right to him on the side door. A little hesitation and an assist on that goal you just saw by Zach Hyman. The big boys rolling this one tonight. And when they're playing like that, you've got McDavid, Nugent-Hopkins, Hyman, and Draisaitl all with multiple point games in the second period. You're in trouble.
Backhander off the draw, and that's handled by Connor Ingram. This is his first start as an Oiler. It's worth a reminder. He's been perfect on 14 shots, and remember, he gave up 7 his last outing in the American Hockey League at the time of his call-up. Highest goals against, lowest save percentage in the entire league. Now, I'm not saying he's capable of a lot better than that, but still, it's not the easiest thing when you're facing Vegas, one of the perennial powers, and maybe your game isn't where you'd love it to be. Rock solid thus far, though, for Connor Ingram. Here's Hannafin getting it back for Dorofia. Marner, little give and go with Stone. One-timer Hannafin, and a save made by Ingram.
That's a good blocker save.
Stone in tight. I mean, Louis, you and I haven't really even had a chance to say hi to him yet.
I know.
Stone.
I was just thinking about that before the game. It happens fast, but sometimes in that situation, the focus is there, and it's obviously there.
Hurdle shoots and scores. Top left corner. Not much Ingram could do there. That was target practice, and Tomas Hurdle. Not much Ingram could do there. That was target practice, and Tomas Hurdle.
You do. Now, NHL, doing everything to stay outside face with tears of joy.
First goal in 4 power play opportunities. That's 14 for Hurdle, tying in for the team lead with Dorofia.
Yeah, he picked the corner here through a screen, and this is the 3rd one that he's had on the power play from the slot for Bouchard. He tries to go down and block this, but in the process probably takes the eyes away a little bit. Credit Hurdle. He picks this corner. He missed one earlier on. Ingram stopped him on another one. And then this one here, he puts this right in the place he had to. It's a quick spin, quick strike. And Vegas is on the board. In their 4th power play, they get one to go by Ingram, 4-1. Probably a sign now for Edmonton to stay out of the box for the rest of this one. I know they've got a 3-goal buffer here, but why give a team life if you don't have to?
Only knock on their performance tonight, I'd say, Lou,
is discipline. I agree.
Draisaitl. Down low for McDavid, and that pass just missed Zach Hyman. Here comes Braden Bowman. Over the line, Riley Smith, his shot ends up out of play with 6.5 to go in period 2, and the Oilers still up 4-1.
From generation to generation, Coventry Homes, never done building, proudly celebrating 50 years.
Connor Ingram finally beaten on that power play goal by Tomas Hurdle, and again, not much he could do there.
Edit controls.
Off the draw, return to Whitecloud by Mark Stone, swept around. Here's a cross-seamer, Barbashev waits, and then put it into an open area where no one was available. McDavid streaking down the right-hand side. Wrong guy to grab that puck from a Vegas standpoint. A drive by Regula, save hard in the rebound. Ends up in Hart's arms after Zach Hyman just got kind of a mid-air touch on it.
He's in the mix there. Took a pretty hard swing on this in the backhand side. Again, the speed of McDavid to drive this one deep, and then it's the one-timer on the delay. And right there you can see Hyman trying to bat this one through. Regula gets a pretty good shot away here. This one pops up in the air, and as he whacks, he does get a chunk of it. And Carter Hart's able to grab it with the glove. And then he was in a swarm of knights around Carter Hart. He didn't want to get out of there. Zach Hyman nose for the net. Good hit. That Clyde calls it.
No surprise, team leader in that regard. More than 100 already on the season. Hannafin sends one trickling toward the net, and that's in the clutches of Connor Ingram. As we come up on 6 minutes to play in this second period, with the Oilers still very much in control. We're going to settle this game down and get back into a rhythm 5-on-5.
Yeah, but Coles has done that all season for the Edmonton Oilers, hasn't he? And it's really a staple of his game. Moving the feet, getting on the forecheck, finishing the body, and that was on Zach Whitecloud. A good clean hit. Two tough guys going at it there. But that's how you kind of disrupt on the forecheck, is get in, use your size, and Pod Coles, and be ready when he's on the ice. He's going to finish.
Hard rim by Emerson does not get out. And that one elevated up and out of play. And brings us to a timeout. Edmonton 2 in the first, 2 more in the second. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has a pair tonight. Tomas Hertl has put the Golden Knights on the board.
Vegas at Edmonton, today at 6 p.m. Edit controls.
Hey, there's an elf on the shelf. No shelf, but the elves are here, and the holiday spirit continues. I'm not sure that'll be the case when Edmonton and Calgary do battle just before the holiday break. It is on, well, everywhere on the Sportsnet network. We should mention as well, tonight's Oilers caring for all country 50-50, presented by Rogers, in support of Cystic Fibrosis Canada. I'll tell you what, this is climbing fast, almost $1.25 million. Get your tickets, EdmontonOilers.com/50-50.
Hey, is it me, Gene, or is that cold air getting you? Or were you out caroling late last night?
Well, that's what I usually do on my return from a road trip. Yes, Christmas caroling, and I need something warm, maybe some tea. Well, I got Mac tea, but I need some tea.
All right, I'm hearing just a little glimmer, and trust me, if you were watching that game a couple of weeks ago, you know I know whereof I speak. Here's Korczak across, Hutton a shot, and that ricochets up and out of play. 5:24 to go in the second. The shots may be split evenly, but Edmonton, especially in the first 25 minutes, sparkling.
Yeah, and the Knights have grinded back here in the last little bit, and that's kind of their MO this season. Not necessarily off to the best starts, but have started to put more pucks. Good defensive play there. I believe it was Jones with a stick to deflect that one up over top of the glass. Dig yourself a little bit of a deficit like the Vegas Golden Knights have, though, here 4-0 up for Edmonton. They do get on the board in that power play goal by Hertl and have continued to push. Their team is not going to go away, and you would expect Edmonton understands that. They played them enough times to know that this team has turnover. Right on cue there, and Houghton could not take advantage, Louis. But I'd agree with you. I mean, Golden Knights bang in one in the next 5 minutes. It's game on heading to the third. Nurse up the left-hand side. Vegas is the third best team in the league in the third period this year. They're a plus 13 in goal differential. But the problem is they're minus 8 in the first two. Draisaitl trying to center. That was almost tipped into his own net by Bowman. Rebound out to Regula. Trying to hit Draisaitl, wasn't there. Reverse to Korczak, and now Riley Smith looks up ice. He's got Bowman. Set down low, Regula. Left it for Nurse. Slid to Podkolzin. And a reset for Edmonton, 4.5 to play in period 2. Oilers looking for their 9th straight win when they get the first goal. And looking to go 11-4-1 in their last 16 in the regular season against Vegas. And these two teams have split their 2 postseason meetings. Ekholm up the left-hand side, but Vegas has what Edmonton wants. Golden Knights do have a championship. Came in 2023. Mattias Ekholm hit hard. In that series, Edmonton was tied 2 games apiece and led late in the second period of Game 5 in Vegas. Took some penalties, 3 quick goals, and 48 hours later, the Oilers were shaking hands. Pretty good hit by Kolazar. McDavid there in the corner. That's the second time he's been popped in this one. Houghton got him earlier.
Last year, Vegas led in each of the first 2 games. Edmonton rallied to win and ultimately claimed the series in 5. And that was with a last-second loss here in Game 3. And when I say last second, I mean a literal last-second loss. Chipped up the left-hand side by Ekholm, got it through Hutton, and here comes McDavid. Spins, tried to backhand it in front. Looking for Savoy, that was picked off by Hutton, advanced through to Barbashev. Now Hanifin will jump up and push it behind Bouchard, tracked down by Stastny. Off the left-hand side, Savoy.
That was another good defensive play, Jack, by Hutton. That's twice he's broken up plays that were for sure going to turn into a grade A in the slot.
And he's been the extra in Vegas for years now.
He's always been that reliable guy you can inject into the lineup at any time, right? And that's why he was such a valuable seventh defenseman. And now he's been really called upon with the injuries and changes in the back end.
Swipe up or down to select the custom action, then double tap to activate.
This is the 27th game he's played this season, so played only 11 last year.
He's second on their defensive points behind Ole Theodore.
There you go. That's called making good on your opportunity.
White Cloud, brief juggle. He'll slam it in deep. Emerson around the nurse, didn't get much on that. Dorofia for Brandon Saad, heading for the net. 7 times a 20-goal scorer. Offense has fallen off a cliff this year. Drive by White Cloud, and that was heading wide, but gloved by Ingram for good measure.
No matter McDavid's ambition, CIBC would have a personalized plan, just like we'll have a plan for you too. CIBC, proud partner of Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers.
You know, I like that play by Connor Ingram, Jack. A little bit of pressure here by the Vegas Golden Knights. They've been kind of buzzing around the offensive zone, and he reaches out, catches that one, holds on, settles things down, get a face-off.
Draisaitl wins the face-off. Ekholm to Bouchard at the left-hand side, Podkolzin. Backhanded through to Jack Roslovic. Drop pass, Draisaitl had it stolen by Riley Smith. He'll leave it for Howard. Punched off his stick and off the neutral zone turnover. Here's Draisaitl. Across, looking for Ekholm. Tipped over to Podkolzin. And now down low. It'll be White Cloud. Noah Hannafin. Lead pass, sneaking through and plowing his way. Smith with a centering pass that was intercepted. Roslovic to Draisaitl, minute to play, period 2. Roslovic threw it around the boards. Nurse late getting on, will collect back at center.
It was a good defensive play, Jack, by Roslovic, coming all the way back, right in front of the net to make that play.
Nugent Hopkins tried to get in that deep, swatted down by Korczak, and here comes Barbashev. Button hooks, pursued by Hyman, stolen by McDavid. He's got Nugent Hopkins with it. Hutton back defensively. McDavid backing, and nice play by Korczak to flick it off his stick for Mark Stone. He'll backhand it in deep for Barbashev, and now Vegas will try to go to work here. 25 seconds to go. Drive Hannafin wide. Rebound Hutton. Delivers to Marner. His shot blocked by McDavid. Hutton tried to slide it in front. Picked off by Nugent Hopkins. Not out of the zone. Barbashev to Hannafin. 9 seconds inside. Stone shoots, and that was blocked by Nugent Hopkins. Hannafin. One-timer Marner, and that flashed up high and off the glass at the horn. The Oilers will take a 4-1 lead into the final 20 minutes. And this is where, again, Vegas so dangerous. How about this? They've trailed 15 times after 2 this year, and they've gotten a point in 9 of those games. So I know it's 4-1. I know the Oilers have looked good. But, Louis, I don't have this in red ink just yet.
Well, as you mentioned, having the 3-goal buffer into the third period is going to be important for Edmonton, because this is a team that's not going to go away.
Coming right at you tonight, the Edmonton Oilers have been on it, scoring the first 4 goals of the game. Vegas has got one back, but it's still 4-1 through 2. Straight ahead, Sportsnet Central update with Martine and Jesse. We're live on Sportsnet from Edmonton. Rogers Place on an icy cold December evening, and the Edmonton Oilers have turned in a solid performance through 40 minutes. Not quite to the finish line just yet, building a 4-0 lead. It's 4-1 after after 2 periods. Louis, where's the fine line between locking it down and doing so with some aggression still prevalent in your game?
I think you still have to play your game. Simple as that. And in this third period, you know the Vegas Golden Knights are going to push. You showed and told the stats about how they're a team to come back, and they've done it 6 times where they've won. For Edmonton, they just have to go to work, and I think going to work means you play 200 feet. You play offensively, you try and score that next one, but when you don't have the puck, you need plays like this, and they've been good in the game tonight. I like the fact that they've had guys backtracking. That was Draisaitl coming back. There's Nugent Hopkins. Here's Janmark again. Don't allow a lot of time with a puck on a stick anywhere in your own zone, and you're going to be fine. But I agree, this Vegas team will push, and Edmonton will have to make sure that they're shutting things down in this third.
Golden Knights are not blessed with a high-powered offense, typically. I mean, they're middle of the pack when it comes to goal scoring. But they're going to need an electrifying third period to come all the way back in this one. Howden wins another draw from McDavid to start a period. Connor Ingram leaves it in the corner for Matthias Ekholm. Ingram 16 saves through 2 periods in his first start for the Edmonton Oilers. Looking for his 40th career NHL victory. Ekholm with a giveaway in the neutral zone. Braden McNabb staggers his way in. A blast and a save. Ingram with no rebound issue.
Yeah, swallowed that one up pretty effectively on the blast by McNabb. And again, for me, it's all about Edmonton just trying to control the play as much as possible. And when you have the puck on your stick, make tape-to-tape passes. Don't try and force any passes to the middle. You saw a little quick pass attempt by Ekholm there that just didn't convert, and it was an instant into the zone chance for McNabb. That's something early on as a lesson. Hey, keep it to the outside.
One-timer by Hutton. That was partially blocked.
But then, you know, you heard Craig McNabb talk about it. You don't want to take away creativity either. You have to play the way you play, and if you see a pass that's there, just make it quick.
No, you're not trying to nurse the lead home.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you play too tentatively, then you're not playing your game.
And I don't think anywhere in the Oilers' DNA, sitting back does not work. Here's a shot to dribble through Ingram. Loose in the blue paint and tugged out of there. And cleared finally by Jones. That could have been a huge lift for Vegas. Instead, it's just an icing call against Edmonton.
You know, when you see the shot like that from my angle, I'm looking right through Dorofeev here. This puck comes right out to him, and bam, no whistle, no whistle, no whistle. I don't know where that puck is, but the one thing's for sure, I know he doesn't have it because it hasn't been blown down yet. And Janmark, with some quick eyes and skates, gets himself to the spot and dishes that out of there.
They call him the janitor, and they do it affectionately. A drive by Lazon and a save made by Ingram. Prevented a goal there that could have really given Vegas some juice. Lazar trapped in the corner, and it fittingly will be Janmark who makes certain of a clear back to the Reds so the Oilers can shuffle the deck. Driven in by White Cloud. Emerson trapped in the corner. Not out. Lazon a shot. And that was blocked by Lazar. Eventually tracked by Janmark himself, with Marner offering token pressure. Draisaitl in from the right-hand side. Janmark, as a Golden Knights, scored a hat trick in a Game 7 win over Minnesota in the playoffs back in 2021. It's probably his finest offensive moment as a player. Here's a chance. Coming in, Cole Reinhardt. Braden McNabb looking to shoot. Now doing so on that pinballed off Regula. He popped right back up. Puck not out of the zone. Held in by Keegan Colasar. Still looking for his first goal. He fell down. And here's Podkolzin in from the right-hand side. Draisaitl with a couple of assists. Nurse a shot, and that missed over the right shoulder of Carter Hart, who's still in there for Vegas, having surrendered 4 on 19. 4-4 lifetime against the Oilers. Of course, all 8 of his previous starts with the Philadelphia Flyers. Matt Savoy shovels it in. Hanifin up the right-hand left-hand side. Ekholm settles. Back down low, Mangiapane. Taking a couple of penalties tonight. Hutton, left side for Hannafin, and now it's Bowen. Sent in deep. Bowman watches the Oilers clear back to the line. That forced back in by Mangiapane. Hannafin, the outlet to Riley Smith is on target. He's with Bowman. Back to Smith, a backhander save, spilled by Ingram, and now we're going to have a penalty, and that's a hook. Regula to the box by Ingram, and now we're going to have a penalty, and that's a hook. Regula to the box, and Vegas awarded a 5th power play tonight. A lot of time.
Edmonton penalty, 75, 2 minutes, okay.
Certainly a lot of time. Here's a good back check on Caden Korczak, the defenseman, jumping up in the rush. And Draisaitl's got to get his feet going here to get back and just make sure that pass doesn't get through. Here's Regula leaning in here. And his stick is in the midsection of Smith. I thought Dwyer missed one earlier on. It was Howden that ripped the stick out of Bouchard's hands and threw it away. I mean, decided not to call that one.
Hannafin to Marner, pressure from Lazar. Mitch Marner loads and fired off the stick of Bouchard. That'll sail out of play. And another face-off to the right of Connor Ingram.
Least penalties taken in the league by the Vegas Golden Knights, and here it is here for Howden. He kind of goes into Bouchard, and then he grabs the stick right here and just rips it out of his hand right in front of Gord Dwyer, by the way. Right there, you can see the skates 15 feet away. Decides not to call that one.
Tip back to Hannafin off the draw.
I guess we're subjective in this one tonight.
Marner slides to his left. Hannafin a one-timer, save, rebound, score! Pavel Dorofeev, another power play goal. The Golden Knights within 4-2. Dorofeev, 10 power play goals on the year and back in sole possession of the team lead with his 15th.
Yeah, he's been around in this one. He's had some
Google,
chances.
now, Yahoo, Finance Canada. Are you better off than most other retirees in Canada? Here are 7 ways to find out.
A big
Attachment.
piece of it, but he's always around that spot, and it's Marner once again that sets things up. Hannafin with the blast. This is a nice backhand to forehand by Dorofeev. This rebound comes hard to him on the backhand side. He quickly brings it to the forehand and puts it in the open net. Not a whole lot of chance for Ingram on that one. And Dorofeev, as we mentioned, 9 goals in his first 10 games to start the season. Went on a little bit of a drought, but he's been hot as of late, and they needed that one. 2-goal game.
And as was the case on the first Vegas goal, Marner and Hannafin will draw the assists. Draisaitl with the game now at 4-2. Draisaitl and McDavid getting a 5-on-5 shift with Zach Hyman. A clear by the Golden Knights. And a nervous uneasiness. Now moving through Rogers Place. Draisaitl. The giveaway at the line. 5 penalties tonight. Taken by Edmonton, and Vegas has cashed in on the last 2. 15.5 minutes remaining. Oilers built a 4-0 lead in the first 30. The last 30. Advantage Vegas thus far. Whitecloud got bobbled up by Roslovic. Barbashev up through the center. Nurse to Regula. On to Nugent-Hopkins. At center ice, Lazon tried to wheel his way in, but Colson took that puck away, hard up the left-hand side. It'll be icing against Edmonton, and Vegas will get an ozone draw here.
This period brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of no payments, no interest for 1 year.
Little less comfortable now, Louis.
Yep.
Hurdle against Nugent-Hopkins. This is a Vegas club that, remember, won the division in the regular season a year ago. Had home ice against Edmonton in that aforementioned second-round series. The Oilers put them away in 5. Hannafin. Tough pass. Falling back is Marner. Lifted ahead, Tomas Hertl. Now Marner. Around the boards to Stone. Remember, the Oilers finished in 3rd place last year in the Pacific. Marner, bounce off a skate right to Hertl, trying to go backdoor. It's in. 4-3. Game on.
Yeah, follow the bouncing puck on this one. Good activation here by Vegas, though. They've been able to find time in the offensive zone early in this 3rd period. And this results in this goal, and it's Marner once again down deep. And this one, this pass attempted to go backdoor, goes off a skate. Hertl spins and just throws this one back into the grain. First one denied, he spins on the backhand side, and Marner quickly gets to that spot, tucks it home. You're going to see right onto the stick.
Timeout, maybe, Chris Knobloch.
It is a timeout. I think he wants to settle some things down here after 2 quick goals by the Vegas Golden Knights to make it 4-3. I don't mind this. Derail the Knights a little conversation in front of me. Kolasar and Draisaitl going at it.
2 goals in 1:57 for Vegas. And a 4-1 lead at the start of the 3rd period has been trimmed to 4-3. That's Marner's 7th from Tomas Hertl. And indeed, it's game on. Vegas, we told you coming in, there it is. 6 3rd period comeback victories, tied for most in the league.
Now the Seattle Kraken, so as we mentioned, they're not a team that's going to go away. And they play their better hockey late in the game. It's just been the way it's been for the Vegas Golden Knights this year. And you're seeing it here again. They've come out in this 3rd period, gotten 2 quick goals, and now have made this a game.
Oilers, remember, still looking for that elusive first win on the second of a back-to-back, coming in at 0-3-3. Vegas 2-0-2 on the second of a back-to-back this year. Shot in by Hyman. Now there's 14 minutes to go, and it's just a 1-goal lead. Tossed by Riley Smith. Kolasar backing off. Nugent Hopkins takes over. That would have been offside against the Golden Knights. Bouchard to Connor McDavid has been brilliant tonight. The goal and 2 assists. Pulls up, hit hard in the corner. At nightfall, he'll be the leading scorer in the NHL. McKinnon got 2 points, 2 goals in Colorado's win. McDavid has 3. So he's got 62 points, McKinnon 61, but that's not what Edmonton's thinking about right now.
Yeah, they haven't spent a lot of time in the zone, and it started in the 2nd period, Jack, where Vegas started to get out of their zone a little bit cleaner and spend more time in Edmonton's zone. And you just saw a prime example. McDavid with a nice drive deep into the zone. He's closed off by 3 Golden Knights. Need to play a little closer together, support, spend a little more time in the zone like this right here. Good support by Puck Coles and good stick to win the battle again and out of the zone. But a little more of that. Play as a group.
White Cloud, Dive and Barbashev. Marner, who scored moments ago to trim it to 4-3 with some token pressure. Now he'll come off. Vegas a line change, a stretch play. Stastny to Matt Savoy around the boards. Ben Hunt swallowed up by Adam Henrique, and now Mangiapane joins the fray. Jabbing at it as Hutton comes free to Hanifin, who's assisted on all 3 Vegas goals tonight. Hertl, beautiful dish, blast, Dorothea, and that stays out. Came off the plexi. Hutton trying to muscle it down low. Darnell Nurse reverse back behind. Regula up the right-hand side for Matt Savoy. Tied up, right wing boards. Andrew Mangiapane, a shot to save. Rebound hard, still loose behind him. He had no idea, and it just wouldn't go for either Savoy or Adam Henrique. Carter Hart lost sight of that puck for a good 3 seconds. Hanifin shot, that's tipped out of play by Regula with 11.5 to go in the 3rd period. We've got a hockey game at Rogers Place. Matt Savoy, an anxious look skyward. He had it, only to see it booted away by Hunt. Tonight's major part of the game brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. Parts that make the difference. That's Napa know-how. Louis, how'd we get here?
Well, this third period has started fast, too. It's the penalty to Regula here on Smith as he gets the stick in a little deep on the backtrack there, and that leads to a power play goal by Dorofeev, who's been around in the blast by Hanifin, tapped in by Dorofeev, and that makes it a 2-goal game. Then we just saw Mitch Marner score a quick one right afterwards on a good cycle down low. To make it 4-3, Jack, and now, as you said, game on.
But Colson around the boards, hacked at by Brandon Saad. They have started a bit in the second period. Golden Knights got one back. Oilers maybe didn't finish the period the way they would have liked. And now Hurdle to McNabb. Bouchard able to come up with it. Ekholm slides to Roslovic. Draisaitl, despite having 2 men on him, gets it in deep. Hart lobbed ahead by McNabb. Big bouncing puck. That'll be corralled eventually by Ekholm. Dorofeev draped all over him. Jack Roslovic, a high toss. Snared by Hutton and left on the deck for Hanifin. He's had 3 assists tonight. Up to Howden. Absorbs a hit check from Emerson. Bounding puck taken by Lazar. Absorbs the first hit. Max Jones tried to help out. Smith served it up to Hutton. That's ruled onside. Hacked away from Bowman. And this time Lazar successfully chisels that free back to center.
Yeah, stick battles have elevated for Vegas. Now they can sense that they're in this game, obviously, and Edmonton's just going to have to dig in a little bit harder here. Good job by Lazar to stay in that battle, win it a second time to get it out of the zone up to Jones. Those little battles inside the line so critical. 50-50 pucks.
Lazon winning a battle. Creating for Mitch Marner. Fed to Whitecloud, a shot to save man. Connor Ingram. Rebound Marner. Wrapped it around the boards. You've got Lazon. Marner. Barbashev had it twisted off his stick. You could maybe hear his anguished cry for a moment. Now Whitecloud. McDavid shielded him from the puck, and eventually Bouchard will escape up the right-hand side. Cuts toward the middle. And regained by Barbashev. Launched one rink wide off the kneecap of Stone. Nurse turned it over. Stone rolled in front. One-timer McNabb. Save made Ingram. Rebound McNabb, who stepped into that one. Stone couldn't find it cleanly. Now McNabb has it again at center. Chipped it back for Reinhart. He drove it in. Ingram nearly spilled that one out in front. Nurse is there to drive it off the left-hand glass, and that almost hit my partner over there.
Pick saved me again.
I think he did. You were in trouble. Connor Ingram thought he might have been in trouble, so he came out to cut off the angle and made a good save on Braden McNabb to keep it 4-3.
Pause button. Swipe.
Tonight's play of the game brought to you by Rogers. This is our game.
Well, it's the first goal of the game. We saw it 9-11. Pretty fitting that it's 9-11 because he was a turbo down the ice here on the right-hand side. Connor McDavid doing his best. Drive that puck wide, tuck it around Carter Hart on the right-hand side of your screen there. 1-0. That set the tone in the game. Vegas has clawed back after down 4-0 to make it 4-3 in this third. Things tightening up.
And McDavid had factored in the first 3 of those 4 Edmonton goals. But Vegas, to its credit, has chipped away. And now with still more than 8 minutes remaining, it's just a 1-goal affair. Hanifin. 6th career 3-assist night for Noah Hanifin. Cole Reinhart tried to stuff it inside. Broken up by Stasny. Savoy. And now Mangiapane, defended by Hutton as he works his way in deep. Hanifin in close quarters comes away. Both teams on the second of a back-to-back. Trying to grind it out here. Down the stretch in the third. Saad gave way. Hurdle loads and fires, and a save made by Ingram, who pushed across and tracked that puck exceptionally well, I thought. Draisaitl at center.
How many chances has Hurdle had mano a mano up against Ingram? He did score the power play goal. He picked the corner through a screen, but when he's been able to see it and face it, he's made the save, Ingram, on big 48.
5 shots on net to illustrate your point, Louis, for Tomas Hurdle. Roslovic. That's a game high for either side. McNabb. Flipped ahead by Hurdle. Hacked away from Saad. And a restart for McNabb. 7 minutes to go. Oilers at one point were out shooting Vegas 10-5. Since then, 22-10 for Vegas. Here's Bouchard.
They're having a tough time making 2 passes in a row right now. And need to settle things down because Vegas, they're starting to feel it here in this third period.
As they have all year long. Plus 15 now in the third for Vegas. Bowman. Riley Smith. The veteran taken out against the corner boards. Bouchard just drew a high stick. I think it was Howard who got the stick up high, and that could curtail some of this Vegas momentum.
Play Alberta's biggest offer ever is here.
Vegas number 20.
Sign up today to find out if you're Alberta's next winner.
Well, Howden and Bouchard have gone at it a few times in this game, and here's Howden just trying to lift the stick, but when he reaches around and lifts up, he comes up into the face of Bouchard. Here's the Hurdle shot again as he kind of goes to the left. And as you mentioned, a good push to the right by Ingram to cut that off and make the save. Power play opportunity for Edmonton. 2 for 2 in the game. This would be a perfect time for another one for them to kind of alleviate some of the stress Vegas has put on them here.
Face off to the right of Carter Hart. Swept around the boards, and McDavid will reel it in at center. Oilers trying for a 3rd consecutive power play goal, but first they're offside. Little pop by Whitecloud on Nugent Hopkins. Oilers didn't care for it. And a little wrestling will quickly be settled down.
Pizza 73. Enjoy the Volcano Pizza today, featuring an eruption of peppercorn ranch dip. Order on game day. Pizza 73, the official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers.
This one was a little after the whistle here on Nugent Hopkins. There's the whistle and still finished the check. You see why Ryan Nugent Hopkins wasn't too happy with that one. Not a huge hit, but still followed through.
I'm sure you would have taken exception.
Absolutely. Well, you let your guard down, right?
Yeah.
You kind of, when you hear the whistle, you let your guard down, all of a sudden you get popped.
Here's McDavid. Dashing in. Off to Bouchard. McDavid. Nugent Hopkins. 16 power play goals over the last 12 for Edmonton. McDavid in front. Kept alive by Draisaitl. And then Nugent Hopkins. Hyman behind the net. Nugent Hopkins. McDavid. Nugent Hopkins already with a pair. Trying to center. That was tipped. Nugent Hopkins fell down. Hyman. Nugent Hopkins. McDavid under close watch. Bouchard back to McDavid. Draisaitl one-timer wide. Draisaitl hasn't gone 8 games without a goal since 2021. McDavid cuts behind, using a pick from Draisaitl. One-timer Bouchard fought off by Hart. Rebound Hyman trying to settle that bouncing puck down. Had trouble. McDavid gets it back from Nugent Hopkins. Bouchard's open. He shoots, and that was blocked by Sissons. Rebound Draisaitl. Top pass. Nugent Hopkins will take it off the end wall.
A lot of time in the zone here.
Bouchard.
Penalty killer standing still.
McDavid one-timer. Oh, and Draisaitl missed an open net. A cavernous net. McDavid. Bouchard. Draisaitl shoots. Blocked shot. Rebound clubbed down the ice. And that'll do it for the the Oiler power play. And with 4.5 minutes remaining, Vegas goes back 5-on-5. Trailing 4-3. Oilers have not blown a 4-goal lead at home since 1993. Henrique to Jeremy Lazon. Booted on to Howden. Ekholm off the right-hand side. Roslovic, he was not yet at center. This is icing against Edmonton. 3:59 to go in the third.
All that time spent in the offensive zone around the world. Nugent-Hopkins was everywhere, but what it did was it forced the penalty kill to slow down. They were out of gas too, looking for the gates. This blast from the blue line fended off with the glove. Here's the chance you're talking about. Wide open net, and as soon as he shoots this puck, it's the pass from McDavid. He knows exactly that he missed that open net. Doesn't miss many from there. They haven't been going in for number 29, but all that work in the offensive zone set up that grade A chance they were looking for.
Off the draw, Marner. Korczak. A lot of grit shown by Vegas, especially after a subpar outing last night in Calgary. Down 4-0. They've been resilient. Roslovic overskated, tucked it in deep. Can Edmonton take advantage of really a tremendous 30 minutes that they played to start? Korczak shoots it in. Emerson takes a look. Locates Podkolzin. Now Draisaitl on his horse. Building speed through neutral and getting it in deep. Korczak. Cut off by Podkolzin. Now Draisaitl against 3. Big and strong enough to maintain. Kick back. Emerson a shot, and that went off a stick and sailed out of play with 3 minutes to go in the third. And what a hockey game this has turned out to be. We've got the finish on the other side.
Play Safeway My NHL Picks weekly for your chance to score all season long. You could even win an NHL getaway for you and your family. Download the Safeway app to start playing today.
Tonight's Oilers Caring for Oil Country 50-50 presented by Rogers in support of Cystic Fibrosis Canada. The current jackpot, well, closing in on $1.4 million and continues to climb. Get your tickets now at EdmontonOilers.com/50-50 for more chances to win.
Lazar off the draw. Here's Savoy a shot, and he pushed it just wide. Zahn will kick it back. Here's McNabb up to Riley Smith. 4-3 Oilers. Again, they led 4-0 with 30 minutes gone. But Vegas has dominated the second 30. Here's a drive, Korczak, and another save by Connor Ingram. His 25th of the night. Tonight's hit of the game brought to you by James H. Brown. Accident Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters in injury law.
Vasily Podkolzin on Zach Whitecloud here on the forecheck. Play the puck move. Good shoulder-to-shoulder hit. Two big guys collide in this one. And for Podkolzin, this is just par for the course for him this season. Get on the forecheck, finish the body, look to turn over pucks. The first half of the game, though, was the Vegas Golden Knights that were greatly out-hitting Edmonton, as it seemed like they had the puck on the string and they were controlling the play. In the second half here, though, it's been the Vegas Golden Knights that have had the puck on their stick a little bit more often.
Offensive zone draw face-off here. We'll keep an eye on Carter Hart, but the Oilers are going to come up with this one. Marner flicked it off the stick of his one-time teammate Zach Hyman, and now a quick shot by Dorofeev, and that had to be fended off by goaltender Connor Ingram. Hyman this time did execute it clear. Hart lodged between the pipes. We'll keep an eye as Vegas emerges from its own end.
He's looking.
Hart's halfway there. Now goes Dorofeev in the corner. 6-on-5 for the Vegas Golden Knights. They trail the game 4-3. McDavid with an empty net. Flutters one back to center. Hannafin will give some ground. Dorofeev. McDavid tracking him. Fed along Mitch Marner. Breaks in. No shot. Bouncing around in front of Ingram. And a hand pass called against the Golden Knights. That was
going to come to the outside.
Yes.
That's why it's critical.
was kind of propelled forward, Louis, and they were emphatic with the call right away. Let's see. Carter Hart, I think, is going to return to the pipes here with a $150.
Yeah, that pass by Stone was deflected, but it still makes its way through, and then en route to the net. Some chopping away at it by big Tomas Hertl, who's been around the net, has 1 goal.
Yeah, Marner gave that puck a little left forearm shiver that did not go undetected. Here's Hertl against Draisaitl. Hart's out by the hash marks. Face-off win, Hertl rushing in Marner. Turned it over. Nurse fired it center, but Hanifin knocked it down. That was a smart play by Hanifin. A good read. And they get the extra man. Oh, Hanifin turned it over. Gave it right to Janmark. Flipped by Podkolzin just high and wide. Wow, for a second, that looked like maybe an Alex Kovalev. Remember, from distance for Ottawa into an empty net at the old Rexall place. Here's Podkolzin again. Oh, to see it knocked down by Hanifin. Minute 15 to go. And here's the finish. Edmonton 4, Vegas 3. Marner trying to complete the comeback for the Golden Knights, who once trailed 4-0. Hertl under duress. Pressed. He gives it up. Barbashev. Hertl back to Hanifin. 1 minute to play. Fed along. Marner fires. Blocked shot. Spencer Stastny. A backhand clear down the ice. It'll be an icing call. Timeout coming up for Vegas with 47 seconds to go. Remember, Edmonton utilized its timeout after Vegas drew within 4-3.
Yeah, after the Vegas goal, the Knights scored 2 quick goals. It was Chris Knobloch that took his timeout to settle things down and just try and get his team right here. Little fumble almost cost this into the open net. Podkolzin, little lobber up over top of Hanifin, just misses wide and above. And going over a play right now in the last seconds here, it's Dominic Ducharme, and on the other end, Mark Stewart's got the board out for the Edmonton Oilers.
With an elite jacket, I might add.
Yeah.
Chris Knobloch's team again looking for that elusive first win on the second of a back-to-back. 6 straight losses to open the year for a club that's traditionally been around 500 in that situation. 5-2 loss yesterday in St. Paul for the Oilers. 6-3 loss last night in Calgary for the Golden Knights. Edmonton trying to close it out. Draisaitl will take the face-off against Hertl. Nurse, Janmark, and Podkolzin stacked in the paint. Spencer Stastny on the half wall opposite Mark Stone of Vegas. Hertl beaten off the draw by Draisaitl. Stastny won a battle and forklifted that out of there to center. Vegas has to tag back up. Hertl will rush it back in. 35 seconds. Loose. Barbashev couldn't get a shot. Hanifin batted down, a Nurse clear, but still Vegas must reset. Lead pass Hertl at the line, carries it in deep, looking to center, it's not there. 20 seconds. Hanifin has to make a decision. Back down low. Stone. Hanifin settles at the line. Stone. 12 seconds. Backdoor tipped. What a read by Nurse. Rebound Marner. 8 seconds. Nurse steal. Not out. Held in by Hanifin. Rebound, Stone a shot, and that was deflected out. Stone can't believe it. Stastny with a deflection out of play, and now just 1 second on the clock. They may put fractional time on there.
The Knights were looking up to the screen and pointing. I think it was Barbashev said, hey, you have to check that. I thought I saw it tick down. We'll see if they put some more time on. Good sticks, though, and defending. This one here by Nurse, great job to extend, not allow that to get through. That would have been a great A. This one as well, intended for Dorofeev, backdoor. Great deflection by Stastny up over top of the glass. 1.3 seconds.
Only 3/10 remaining. 7 players stacked in the pen. Hertl will try to win the draw back to Dorofeev for a one-timer and a potential equalizer. That's the play. Draisaitl will try to tie him up. Hertl won it. Dorofeev, a backhander that's blocked in Edmonton. Hands on. Connor Ingram, his Oiler debut. 28 saves. And it's Edmonton 4, Vegas 3. That's your final.